What's the youngest person you would say that has come to buy drugs from you?
13, 14.
What does it cost for a serving of fentanyl?
If you buy it in bulk, I can get it for $1.25.
And what do you sell it for?
$30.
What's up, team? My name is Tom, and today I'm gonna react to visiting the most drug addict city in America. It's not secret that there is a drug crisis happening right now in America. So let's jump in and see what Tommy G will show us. Let's react.
Superman.
Now we are seeing students as young as first grade who have had drug issues.
What percent of guys that are slaying you think waste their
I just assume everybody.
Nebraska.
Online it says that Omaha is the most drug addicted city in America. Does that surprise you?
No.
The United
Omaha?
States of America is facing a massive drug crisis. In 2021, over 106,000 people died from drug overdoses. This is up 14% from 2020. The main culprit in this story is fentanyl.
Next to the fentanyl crisis wreaking havoc in communities across the country, overdoses, drug seizures, and concerns continue to grow from coast to coast.
The victim can be seen buying the fentanyl and then walking over to the front door of the gas station before collapsing.
A snapshot of America's
Oh my
fentanyl
gosh.
crisis. An average
Man, this is crazy. The fentanyl, it's much cheaper than the other drugs, right? And it's easier to transport it because it's like easier. And Mexicans do it very well, as I understand, you know. So this is a big problem right now, as I heard.
of one person every 10 hours dies in this city of a fentanyl overdose.
Oh my gosh.
More people are dying, and it's in a lot of the drug supply, and people are doing it without knowing they're doing it.
Fentanyl was created in 1959 by Dr. Paul Jansen to be a more efficient alternative to morphine, and it's used in hospitals to help with surgeries and pain management. Due to its potency and how cheap it is to produce, drug dealers cut their products with fentanyl to stretch it and make it stronger. The journey of fentanyl to the United States is as follows. Much of it is created in China and India, and it's sold to Mexican criminal organizations like the Sinaloa cartel. It's then smuggled across the border, and it's been flooding the American streets. Today, we visit the most drug-addicted city in America, Omaha, Nebraska. Top in the nation for meth, cocaine, marijuana, and heroin. We speak with addicts, people in recovery, drug dealers, and law enforcement. Let's hit the streets.
I would guess that most drug addict cities could be at the border of the Mexico, because you know, like, it just makes sense. But looks like I'm wrong.
First, we stop at University of Nebraska Omaha to speak with Coalition RX, a nonprofit dedicated to reducing drug use.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carrie.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
We're seeing big pharma on the streets, and we're seeing a lot of drugs, mainly fentanyl. And the bad thing about fentanyl is just little grams to kill you.
If you look at a drug dealer like a business operation, what's in it for them to lace things with fentanyl?
It's cheap, and it gives you a good kick of high.
It's one of the most dangerous drugs we've ever seen.
How is fentanyl getting into this country? Does anyone know the source, where it comes from, how it gets here?
The drugs are being manufactured in China, and they're being sold to the groups like Sinaloa in Mexico, and then trafficking it across the border.
Federal agents found 300,000
Also, I heard that like Mexicans buy the supplements needed to create these drugs, and then after that they create it in Mexico, and then they transport it into USA.
fentanyl pills and 11 pounds of fentanyl powder. Authorities say the SUV has crossed the U.S.-Mexico border multiple times.
Now we are seeing students as young as first grade
What?
who have had drug issues.
Oh no,
Big
this is very
Pharma,
bad.
In my mind, they are the people that needed to be held accountable, and they've been getting off scot-free, if you ask me.
My son passed away when he was 18 from an accidental oxycodone overdose right here on this campus, actually. He had just finished his freshman year on a full academic scholarship here, and from what I can tell, he was experimenting with drugs, I believe because of some stress he was under with grades and different things. And he went to sleep one night after after getting some oxycodone from another student, and he didn't wake up that morning.
If we meet a drug dealer today that bolsters his business with fentanyl, what would be your message to that drug dealer? What would you like to say to him?
Well, I want them to think about their own child or their niece or nephew or the kid next door. Would they want that kid's life to end because of what they're doing to make?
They don't care. They just don't care. They're like, I don't know, like they want to make profit, and that's it. That's the mission. And maybe they are even ready to give life of their own family for that. You know, these are people who don't consider other people's life when it comes to earning money. You know, this is the sad part.
A buck. They're killing people's kids.
Addiction is giving up everything for one thing, but recovery is giving up one thing for everything.
How many people in this room has either had a family member or know of someone that has overdosed in their circle?
Yeah.
Since there's fentanyl in a lot of things, you can carry naloxone. So what you do is you put it into your nasal cavity. I don't have the test.
I put this up their nose.
You put this part, and then you just push down, and it will spray.
Corporal Crane was equipped with the nasal spray Narcan, a prescription medicine that rapidly reverses the effects of an overdose.
Thanks, you guys.
Take care.
Next, we had to speak to a former drug dealer that can give us insights on how narcotics are moving through this area.
So we're heading to a trap house in Omaha, talk to a dealer, get inside their head. Tell me about the drug scene in Omaha.
It's pretty active right now. I mean, when you hit us up saying that there's an epidemic level, I honestly thought to myself, I was like, well shit, the drugs have always really been here. One of the big things right now is meth, a lot of overdoses.
Does that make you nervous being in the game?
This made me a little nervous, not gonna lie, because nobody really understands what they're doing nowadays, you know what I mean?
What do you view as the impact of fentanyl coming into the game?
It's honestly a travesty because it just kills people.
So what percent of guys that are slaying you think waste their shit?
I just assume everybody, because at the end of the day, when they get it, they themselves sometimes don't know if it's been stepped on or cut or anything, you know what I mean?
Tell me about the journey of how drugs get to America and how Omaha is a central point of that.
The way I understand it is just because we're on I-80, Interstate 80, everything gotta come and go through here at some point in time. That's why, like Nebraska, they call it the gauntlet, because we make so many drug busts on the interstate.
Have you ever felt bad for a customer?
At the end of the day, people are grown. It's their own responsibility to handle their shit, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do the drugs, not let the drugs do you, whatever it is you're doing.
What made you decide to get?
Well, this is the excuse of every drug dealer. Like, it's their responsibility. It's like, you know, if not me, that somebody else is gonna do it. But what about your responsibility? What are you giving to community? Like, are you bringing drugs into the community? Are you finding people? Are you helping to spread this disease? This is the thing that they don't think about, and this is why those people need to be punished, you know?
To the game.
I did it out of necessity, like out of survival, because I lost my job, a lot of different things were going on, I got in trouble with the law, and I was just trying to figure myself out.
And what kind of things went down in this house that we're at?
This place, man, everything used to go down here, literally everything. Meth, coke, crack, weed, everything. Like, I got out in 2019, I went away before it ever even got raided.
What was your childhood like?
That's pretty regular.
Yeah. Do your parents know what you've been up to?
Do they know everything? No, but my mom, I love my mom, so she has an idea.
Does it surprise you to hear that Omaha is the most drug-addicted city in the country?
It kind of does.
Big Pharma, what role do you think they play in this whole game?
I think they play a big role in it, because a lot of the stuff that people are exposed to wasn't around before then.
If you came face to face with a mother of someone that has died from drug overdose, what would you say to her?
Sorry for your loss. I mean, the person makes their own choice at the end of the day. Nobody forced them to do that.
Man, I just cannot stand this like pathetic excuses. Like, man, everybody needs to take responsibility for their own actions.
Most dealers won't deal to kids, or do you know of any guys that'll sell to a 5th grader or a 6th grader?
I think if anybody got the money, anybody gonna serve it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
If you could retire from this profession, what would you get into?
I'd like to do what you're doing.
Next, we head to a part of Omaha where drug addicts and homeless people are living in tents.
I mean, in the same time, how can like 5th, 6th grader, even like 10th grader or 12th grader be able to like, you know, take the responsibility for their actions if they don't know, they don't understand basically what they are doing, because like they are still kids. you know, and this guy is he knows what it does to people, and he knows that these kids are gonna ruin their lives, and he still goes and gives the drugs to the kids. How like, why, man? This is your responsibility, man, that you're doing this bad stuff to the kids, man. Destroying the youth,
to get
you
their
know?
story and hear what their life is like.
Omaha is known as the most drug-addicted city in America.
It is. I'm with the outreach program. I'm a psychologist. Fentanyl is the worst thing in the world. They used it when they put you under to do surgery. They quit using it. Well, then it disappeared off the docks. It went to Mexico. It comes back to the United States. They stomp on it. What stomping means, they mix it with other things. Young cats like you get it.
What can you tell us about life here?
Difficult, hot, resources are slim.
Do you survive out here all day?
Yeah, I'm here 24/7.
What gets someone to a point that they're willing to be outside in a tent in 90-degree heat?
To get away. Sometimes it's better to be out here than it is to be in an abusive situation. And guess what? It could happen to you two guys too.
What's the drug that's running through Omaha right now?
Meth, crack, there's some cocaine and weed. Pretty much anything you want to find is pretty much everywhere.
Right here.
I got out of the situation that I was in and ran out of funds, so I got stuck here until I can get enough funds up to be able to get into a place.
People are bad. They've had a bad situation, but sometimes the system doesn't allow that.
What could the system change, or what could be better about the system?
Other psychologists, psychiatrists, outreach programs, hospitals where they can take their medication, etc., etc. They can live.
Also, I would like create a law that would punish very hard drug dealers for dealing drugs to kids. This is number one, like no doubt about that. And from the government side, I will probably create some system that would teach kids, educate kids on that. That's very important, I think. Overall, not only in America, I mean, everywhere.
This is kind of the Skid Row of Omaha, I would say.
Hell yeah, this the bottom. I can't get my fucking ID. They fucking with me. They keep talking about they care about the people that's homeless. They don't want you to put your tents up nowhere. Why the fuck we can't put our tents up nowhere and y'all not trying to help us?
I had suspicions about this guy, so I called the Sienna Francis house to see if he worked there. They said he was not a psychiatrist on staff. He was a patient. Today we meet John, a former addict helping other people on the path to recovery outside the Sienna Francis house, which is a place leading the charge on helping the homeless, but also one of the highly concentrated areas of drug addicts in the city. It's a sketchy place that plays a central role in this story.
The most drug-addicted city in America is arguably Omaha, Nebraska. Does that surprise you to hear?
That's the first time I've heard that. I know it's bad here, the fentanyl epidemic, the opioid crisis. I know it's known for the methamphetamine use, but yeah, it's getting worse and worse.
So I've got a for-profit counseling agency, Halo Counseling Center. I've been doing that for about the last 8 years, started that in 2015. So we do a lot of work with like the criminal justice system. Most of our referrals come from probations, drug courts, veterans courts, things like that. It's insane. I mean, our business just continues to grow. I started off with just me, myself, and I, and now we're up to 8 counselors, 5 offices, and we still can't keep up.
What got you into this?
So I got my own history. In 2006, I was out on the streets smoking meth. I was involved in a raid September 11, 2006, and was arrested, charged with conspiracy to distribute 500 grams of meth. So I was just with the guy that was doing it, basically.
Story.
I was his right-hand man. So
that's where it started for me, where my sobriety got started, was that treatment facility right there. Used to be a lot of tents out here. If we end up walking down farther that way, you'll see a lot of tents and everything where the people choose not to go into the shelter. You know, they're either not ready yet or it's just not for them.
How did you become sober?
I got arrested, which is my sober date, August 26th of 2020, and arrested for methamphetamine. I went to jail for 6 months, and I've been battling drug addiction for probably the last 10 years. And so I was arrested, sat in jail for 6 months. I came over here. I was here for 7 months, and then went to the halfway house, and then just been trying to get my life back together slowly but surely.
It seems like jail is a lot of people's sober day.
Yeah, absolutely. Some sort of higher power, man, that gave me the option to do a program that we all
You know, like some people, for some people, jail is the savior. For some people, it's just the continue of the road of their life, you know. So it depends of the person.
Over here, and if I graduate that program, I get the felony removed from my records.
Once I got into jail, it was almost a sense of relief because I had attempted sobriety, you know, some feeble attempts, didn't really reach out to get any real help. Then when I was charged federally, then it just became a fear factor. Once you see the United States of America versus John Sapinski, that tends to tighten some things up in the old body there.
What does your first hit of meth feel like?
Superman, euphoria, energy. I was at work, I was mowing lawns, and I had a hangover from the night before, and my boss was like, dude, what's wrong? What's going on, man? Usually, you know, you're doing a good job at work. Man, I got a hangover, I feel like crap, you know, whatever. He's like, go talk to my brother. So I went and talked to the brother. He pulls out a bag of meth, took a big old snort, and I'm mowing lawns like nobody's business. I'm running around with a weed eater and just tearing people's lawns apart. It was glorious.
So it started out pretty innocent.
Yeah, within weeks, I'm staying up for days on end. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to work at 6. I need to get more dope. Can't find any more dope. Can't go to work. And the cycle began.
My first experience with it was I was using marijuana at the time, and my friend came over, and I took a hit of meth, and it really didn't do anything for me then. I don't know if it was because I was already prescribed amphetamines, legal amphetamines. And then years down the road, after I got into some trouble in a different city, I was on probation, and I was kind of trying to be clean, and a girl said to me that I was seeing at the time, she said, well, this will make sex better. Of course, I'm all for it. You know, if it's going to make sex better, why not?
How'd you find your way here? What's your story?
You know, for me, this is like endless loop. If you get into the drug addiction, this is endless loop. You won't be able to feed this beast. You know, he always will want more and more and more. Like everything in life, you know, and you cannot stop. This doesn't make any sense to take drugs, you know, just like any sense. For me at least, it makes more sense just to figure out your problems, try to move somehow in life, you know, in your own pace, you know, and then get through the trauma, maybe visit psychologist or something, do something, you know. Don't rely on drugs. They're gonna destroy you, they're gonna kill you, that's it.
I got in trouble with the law. I was addicted to meth for like 13 years.
What was your first introduction into meth? How'd you start that?
When I was 16 years old, I used to drink a lot with my friends and stuff, and I got introduced to it one night. It was like something to just stay awake, to party more, and then it became like an everyday thing. I went to jail.
How long did you serve?
I was in there for 3 months.
Did that help you on the road to sobriety?
If I would have got out and just went back on the streets, I'd probably be back on drugs right now.
What should the punishment be for a dealer that's selling people meth?
Definitely jail time.
What was the low point of your meth journey?
Right before.
Imagine if it would be like in China, death sentence for the drug dealers, so people would think 2 times before they would do it.
I came here, I lost custody of my girls. I lost the love of my life. I'm facing like 17 years in prison right now. If you're struggling with drug addiction, you got to find your higher power. You got to believe in something higher than you. If you need help,
yes,
it's always nice to reach out to somebody that you love and tell them the problems you're going through.
Our next stop is talking to drug dealer Shakedown, who is currently facing federal time for her narcotics operation. We wanted to talk to someone that had hands-on experience with fentanyl. Here's what we learned.
How would you describe yourself?
Just try to get $1, take care of my people.
So what are you currently up against right now?
Facing about 9 to 10 years, manufacturing methamphetamine, fentanyl, cocaine. I've spent 5 years already in prison. You know, I mean, this is federal time, so it's gonna be different.
Do you think there's any shot of beating the case, or what are you looking at?
No, I don't think so. It's nothing that's gonna stop me from going to prison for some time. I didn't start, you know, really hustling, like selling narcotics and whatnot until 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Before that, I was hitting licks, like robbing people, going to people's cars, going to people's houses, you know, and doing what I could to just stay afloat. I was introduced to selling selling drugs, and I was like, damn, I ain't gotta beat nobody up no more. I ain't gotta do all this. You know what I mean? I ain't gotta do all this, put my life at risk, put your life at risk. You know what I mean? You put people through that, you put people's kids through that.
Have you ever felt bad for a customer?
Before I ever started selling fentanyl, I lost my girlfriend. My girlfriend before this, I didn't give a I was like, if I'm gonna lose somebody, y'all gonna lose somebody. I kind of like numbed up after a while, like.
What are the drugs that are going through Omaha right now? Like, what are the biggest drugs that people are selling?
Fentanyl's super heavy right now. They don't even want heroin no more. Fentanyl is synthetic heroin. That's what they're going for. They want that shit immediately.
What was your childhood like?
I was in the system. I was locked up. Like, I've been locked up since I was 14.
What were you booked for?
Distributing and conspiring to confederate methamphetamine, fentanyl, and cocaine over 400, but less than 700 grams.
How much money does all that cost?
That'd be like 50,000.
And then what can you flip that into?
You get 50,000 straight up, but you ain't find people, you gonna flip that to 150,000 easy.
The first hit of fentanyl, what is that like?
If you are constantly a person that deals with trauma and traumatic situations, it's gone for a minute, you know what I mean?
Do you think most drug users and even drug sellers are running away from trauma and drugs are kind of the way to like...
I think so. I really believe in that because there was this famous rapper, DMX, and unfortunately he passed away after overdosing, and all his life he was fighting with against trauma from childhood, so it's a lot of trauma, man.
Patch up the pain?
Hell yeah. I feel like it's never the drugs, it's the experiences that you've been through that made you, gravitate to that.
Earlier this morning we met with the mom of a kid who overdosed, and it's just her son's death has impacted the whole family. It has a trickle effect. What would you say to the parents of people that have overdosed?
I've been through it, so it's like I don't, people make their own choices, and you just gotta stop them from making those choices, not by telling them what to do.
What's the youngest person you would say that has come to buy drugs from you?
13, 14.
What does it cost for a serving of fentanyl?
If you buy it in bulk, I can get it for $1.25.
And what do you sell it for?
$30.
I wish you the best.
I appreciate you.
Tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, I was living out in Omaha, and the Perk 30s were really huge, and that's how I started using,
I've heard that in rap songs.
Yep.
Perk 10, I just popped that Perk 10. Perk 30, I just popped that Perk 30.
Oh my gosh, I cannot listen to this. Sorry guys. My ears.
Everyone talks about the Perk 30s. They glamorize using the Perk 30s, getting fucked up on the Perk 30s, but honestly, laced with fentanyl, super addictive. A lot of it is the chemical dependency in your body. It's not so much you wanting to get high anymore, it's your body physically needs it. My drug addiction really took everything from me. The number one thing on my mind all the time was getting high and using.
How long have you been clean for?
I've been clean for 70 days.
What is your plan to make sure you don't fall back?
Those withdrawals, man, when I went through withdrawals and treatment, it felt like I was on my deathbed, couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I was throwing up, and that's a big reason why I feel like I can't go back, is just because I know the hold that it'll have on my life. I was spending $500 a week.
Literally, this video should be shown to all the people who want to take drugs, literally, especially to kids, okay? If I understand that adults are running away from trauma, then kids are looking more for something fun, and then they get into this, and then they are addicted, and they destroy their lives.
On my drug habit.
What was rock bottom for you?
I was staying in someone else's house, no money, selling my own things on Facebook, so that way I had money to get high, and even then I was maybe using one time a day and I was still really sick. Addiction doesn't discriminate, people think that it's only low-class people who get addicted to drugs, but honestly,
no,
anyone
it's not
can
true.
get addicted to drugs.
For sure.
I was very fortunate growing up. When I was finally on my own, I met a man who kind of veered my life in a different direction, and I chose to take that path.
I can't imagine what it's like doing your job in this area. What is it like?
You get used to it. I mean, that's what you signed up for, right?
What would you do to help a city like this?
I really don't have an answer for you.
I guess you can either invest money into the incarceration side, or you can invest money into the rehabilitation side.
So you gotta go for rehabilitation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to help people as best you can. You don't want to incarcerate them for life.
What percent of the calls you would say you have to answer to are drug related?
Probably more than half.
We appreciate what you're doing, and thank you.
Yeah, you all take care, all right?